פסחים פרק ד' משנה ג'. אגב משנה א', because of משנה א', מובאות שלוש המשניות דלקמן. We're going to have three mishnahs that are going to come up, משנה ג' ד' ה', העוסקות בהלכות התלויות במנהג. We're going to learn about clothes that have to do with customs, nothing to do with Pesach necessarily. משנתנו שנויה גם במסכת עבודה זרה. This Mishnah, you also have it in מסכת of idol worship. והיא באה ללמד, it comes to teach, שאסור למכור לגויים בהמה גסה. That, I think it's only in the land of Israel, you're not allowed to sell to non-Jews bulls, for example. A bull, you're not allowed to sell to non-Jew. מהטעם שנביא במשנה, we're going to see the reason in the Mishnah. ומשום איסור זה, and because of this specific prohibition, יש מקומות שנהגו שם להחמיר על עצמם, לא למכור לגויים אף בהמה דקה. There are places who not only they didn't sell them bulls, they didn't sell them even sheep or goats. הילקח יש לנהוג בזה כמנהג המקום. Therefore you have to do it. If you live in a place that they don't sell, you don't sell. If you live in a place that you do sell בהמה דקה, goats and sheep, you can sell. So let's see. מקום שנהגו למכור בהמה דקה, in a place that the custom was to sell to a non-Jew, goats and sheep, בהמה דקה, כגון עזים וכבשים, לגויים, to the non-Jews, מוכרים, then you're allowed to. מותר למכור להם. You're allowed to sell it to them. מקום שנהגו שלא למכור, but a place that the custom was not to sell, בהמה דקה לגויים, again, the custom was not to sell goats and sheep to the non-Jews, שמחמירים הם על עצמם, because there's no reason not to sell them בהמה דקה, but they're stringent upon themselves. Why did it take such a stringency? משום איסור בהמה גסה, like we're going to learn soon, you're not allowed to sell them a bull. So it says, once you say, not a bull, okay, not any other animal. כפי שנלמד להלן, like we're going to learn further on. אין מוכרין, but we do not sell them, אסור למקום להם. ובכל מקום אין מוכרים להם בהמה גסה. In every place you do not sell to them a bull, כגון פרים ופרות, just like bulls. Why? You have to remember, what are bulls? Bulls at that time are tractors. Yeah, that's what it is. Yeah. It's like Raytheon, they don't sell things to other countries necessarily that they manufacture to America. Yeah. It says, no. We only sell it to American companies. Think about it. Yeah. Bulls we don't sell to non-Jews. Yeah. כגון פרים ופרות, like for bulls and cows. Why? שגזרו חכמים. We're going to see what are the sages afraid for. Now, I'm not quite sure what we'll see inside. שגזרו חכמים, this is a decree of the sages. What's the decree? שמא גם ישאיל או ישכיר בהמתו לגוי. That you're going to rent out or you're going to give to loan your cow to a non-Jew. So it says, what's the idea? It says, when it comes to Shabbat, it says, who has to rest on Shabbat? You, your servant, and your animals. Yeah, it says, be'metecha, your animals. Now, sheep and goats don't go to work, so you don't have to worry about it. But bulls can go to work. They're afraid that what you're going to do a feuerstick. Even though my bull is supposed to rest on Shabbat, you know what, I'm going to rent it out before Shabbat, and I'm going to make the money out of him from Shabbat itself, and that I'm not allowed to do that. So they made a decree, do not sell anytime bulls to non-Jews.
You can rent the bull.
Oh, we're going to, I don't know, it doesn't say bull, it doesn't say chamor. Yeah, and you're going to see, it doesn't even say horse. Yeah, for some reason, I don't know why. We'll have to, yeah. כגון, you know what? Maybe because it says כגון פרים ופרות, like oxen and bulls, maybe that means a donkey too. But I think horses, they're allowed to sell, as you're going to see soon. Yeah. Maybe horses wasn't a working animal. Maybe it was just for traveling. Maybe that's why.
Car.
Yeah.
You lend your car.
Yeah, maybe it was. Yeah. No, you're not, if it's your animal, you're not allowed to. Yeah. כגון פרי מפרות, שגזרו חכמים, again, what's the idea? שמא גם ישאילו ישכיר במתו לגוי. They were afraid you're going to make business with your animals for Shabbat. והגוי יעשה במלאכה בשבת, and the non-Jew is going to do work with it on Shabbat. והרי מצווה ישראל על שביתת בהמתו. And a Jew has to have his animals rest on Shabbat. The commandment. Or, this is one reason, or, and another reason, משום שפעמים מוכרה לו ערב שבת, there are some times that he sells it to him just before Shabbat, סמוך לשקיעת החמה, close to the sunset, והגוי מבקש ממנו לנסותה, and the non-Jew asks him, let's try it. כיצד היא הולכת כשהיא טעונה? How does it work when it's loaded? וישראל גוער בבהמה, והיא הולכת מחמת קולו המוכר לה, and the Jew calls it. And he says, walk, walk. And since it's his, he knows the voice of the owner, the animal starts walking. And you're not allowed to make your animal walk with a load on Shabbat. ונמצא מחמר אחר בהמתו בשבת. And he finds that he's going to walk his animal on Shabbat because the guy bought it just before Shabbat. Okay. And the same thing, וכן אין מוכרים להם, and we also don't sell to them, עגלים וסייחים, young bulls, שאף על פי שאינם רואים לעשות מלאכה, that even though they are right now cannot do any work, יהיו רואים לאחרי זמן, they will be able to do work when they grow up, כשיגדלו. ויש מפרשים, and there are those who explain, גזירה שמא יראו אחרים, ולא יבחנו בין גדולים לקטנים. It says, maybe it is just like Mari sign, somebody is going to see you selling a young bull, they were going to think, oh, you're also allowed to sell an old bull. But an old bull, you're not allowed to. A young bull, you are. Okay. So therefore, because of the old bull, we're going to tell you, don't even sell the young bull because of that. ויבואו למכור לגדולים. סייחים, what are סייחים? Oh, it looks like you're right. Like donkeys comes together with the bulls. היינו בני חמורים. סייחים means sons of a donkey. עיירים. בגמרא אמרו, למה קוראים לו סייח? In the Gemara it says, why do you call him a סייח? שמהלך אחר שיחה נאה. Because he walks after you show him. בקריאת בנחת וברמיזה, הוא הולך למקום שאדם חפץ. You call him סייח because you can lead him with your voice. Like from the word language, you can lead him with your voice. Now you can sell עגלים וסייחים שלמים ושבורים, whether they are blemished, whether they are not blemished, בין עגלים וסייחים שלמים, whether they are complete, ובין שבורים, and whether they are damaged, אסור למכור לגויים. You're not allowed to, this is adult ones. You're not allowed, actually, is it adult ones? No, it's not adult ones. Whether they are damaged, whether they are not damaged, שאף השבורים רואים למלאכה, that even though they're damaged, they can still do work with them. כגון, how can you use a donkey if he's damaged to do work? I mean, you cannot take him in the marketplace. His leg is not good. So it says, כגון לעבודת התחינה ברחיים. But you can still put him, in the windmill, to go walk around. That he can do, even though if he's not a good walker, he cannot.
Do light work.
He can do light work, that's right. ויש מפרשים שגזרו על השבורים, and there are those who explain that they made a decree on the broken ones, on the non-good ones, שמא יראו אחורים ולא יודעו ששבורים הם. Again, מראית עין, once you started selling them a lame one, people are going to think, oh, he sold the lame one, it looked to me like it's pretty good, it's not so lame. I'm also allowed to sell a good one. ויבואו למכור להם שלמים. Rabbi Yehuda, we're going to say, מתיר בשבורה. Rabbi Yehuda says, if yours is very lame, if your donkey is lame, you're allowed to sell it. שאין שבורה ראויה למחה כלל, because שבורה, a lame one cannot do any work, ומן הסתם קונה אותה הגוי לשחיטה, and most probably the guy who buys it is not buying it for work, he's buying it for slaughter. ואינו משעה אותה חיה, and is not going to keep it alive. ומכאן אין גם חשש שמא יראה אותה ישראל, אחר אצל הגוי יבוא למכור לו. And therefore you're not worried that somebody is going to see this animal by the goy because it's going to get killed and you're not going to see it working anyway. So we're not going to be worrying about that. That's Rabbi Yehuda says. ואין הלכה כרבי יהודה. But we don't do הלכה כרבי יהודה, that we're still worried. That maybe this guy is not going to sell it, he's going to work with it, a light work, and then you're going to learn it on a regular animal. Ben Beteira, Matir Besus. Ben Beteira says that's only working animals, but it looks like they didn't use sus. According to Ben Beteira, they didn't use a sus. They didn't use a horse for שלא היו משתמשים בסוס לעבודה. He says, people did not use a horse for walking, like nowadays. Nowadays we do use horse, but in those times they didn't use a horse as a walking, אלא לרכיבה, but only for riding. It's like a sedan. It's not like a truck. There's trucks and there's sedans. ואין בזה עבירה משום שביתת בהמתו. And you're not transgressing for not walking your animals. שכן כלל הוא, because it's a rule, שהחי נושא את עצמו. That the living carries himself. We had this discussion already before. We're not going to go into it. I know it doesn't make a lot of sense, but the idea here is that even if the horse, if you are riding upon the horse, it's not called carrying, because the person is alive. If it's a dead person, you have a problem. But a live person, you don't have a problem, because we have a concept that the live person is carrying himself. So they do half and half. The horse does half, and the live person does half. You remember we had discussion. From the rabbis, you can't. Yeah, that's why I give you an example. That's why if a kid is outside of the Tchum Shabbat, for example, a woman is allowed to hold his hands, right, and to make him walk into the Orishut Yachid. She's allowed. She says, what happens? Sometimes he hangs. Sometimes he hangs. So he says, because it's the Chai Notze et Atzmo, it's an Avera, but we let it because it's half and half. We're not so worried. Yeah? So it's the same thing over here. ואיסור רכיבת בשבת אינו אלא גזרה מדרבנן. And the prohibition of riding on Shabbat, it's a decree from the Rabbanan. ברם, תנא-קמא אוסר גם בסוס, but the תנא-קמא, it prohibits also in a horse. יש מפרשים, there are those who explains, שאף תנא-קמא אינו אוסר בסוס או עומד לרכיבה בלבד. That if the horse, even Tanakama says, if this horse we know for sure is only a horse for riding, even the Tanakama says you're allowed to sell it. It's only where they disagree if the sus is, we don't know what it is. Sometimes it's for riding, sometimes it's for not. ולא נחלקו אלא בסוס המיוחד לעופות. Oh, another thing. They only disagree about a horse that is designated for birds. What does that mean? היינו סוס שמשתמשים בו הציידים, ומביאים עליו את העופות שצדים בו. It's a special horse that the hunters used to use, and they used to load on it birds. רבי יהודה סובר, החי נושא את עצמו. The Rabbi Yehuda סובר, Rabbi Yehuda thinks that the living is keeping himself up, is not considered carrying, ואפילו בהמה ועוף, even if you put birds and animals on it, ולפיכך מותר למכרו לגוי, therefore you're allowed to sell it to a non-Jew. ותנא-קמא סובר שלא אמרו החי נושא את עצמו, it says the fact, I think that we'd be talking about over there is that you would put the hunting birds, whatever you call them. You know, you have the hunting birds that you send to hunt, so you don't want to carry them. You've got like 6 or 7 of them. You're not going to carry them on your hands. You put them on a horse, and the horse carries. So the question is, do you say Chai Noseh Tatzmo, the living carries himself, only for animals, only for humans, or also for animals? And that's the disagreement. So Tanakama sover, Tanakama thinks שלא אמרו החי נושא את עצמו אלא באדם. They said they only say this concept by a person. אבל בבעלי חיים אין כלל זה אמור. But when it comes to animals, we do not say this rule that the living carries himself. יש בזה איסור משום שפיטת בהמתו. And therefore your animal is working on Shabbat if you sell it to a goy for that such a purpose. הילקח דינו ככל בהמה גסה. Therefore, since it was used for hunting, it is like any other animal. ואסור למכרו לגוי. And you're not allowed to sell it to a non-Jew. ואין הלכה כבן בתרה. And the halacha is not like ben betera, which means you're not allowed to sell a horse also. ויש אומרים שתנקמה אוסר בכל הסוסים. There are those who says that תנקמה is prohibits in all horses, ואפילו בסוס העומד לרכיבה בלבד. Even in a horse that you know for sure is only for riding and only for human, תנקמה says is still not allowed. גזירה משום סוס המיוחד לעופות, because it says once you give, you say you're allowed for this horse, for human beings, people are going to think you also allowed it for the one for the birds. And therefore, because of Maris Ayin, that the people are going to learn from one to the other, you don't sell any horses to make it easier.
But this is only Minha. זה הלכה. כאילו, if they wanted to do, they would say, you can rent a בהמה to a goy. Why not to sell it? They are kind of depressing the Jew. They can do business with the goy in a way.
Yeah.
Why don't you say you cannot rent to a goy?
No. I think the idea behind it is you want to make the life of a non-Jew a little bit difficult in the land of Israel.
That's only okay.
Yeah.
That's only the land of Israel, Moshe.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now it makes sense.
Yeah. I think
if it's in the land, because they're all Jews.
Yeah.
So you don't sell it to him, he's going to go to Syria, maybe try to get a behemoth.
But I am not 100% sure. Because I'll tell you, if it was what I said, which makes sense what I said, right? You like it. I also liked it. But I'm not sure that this is correct.
No, you are correct.
I'm not, and I'll tell you why I don't.
זה חומרה.
Yeah.
So the community, they said, you know what, we have so many, we are going to do this חומרה.
Yeah, but I tell you, it might be also over here. And it's because of Shabbos that you're worried about. So it might be also out and you're not worried about the land of Israel. And it's because you're worried about Shabbos. That might also be.
Your car, if you rent your car and everybody knows that this is your car and you rent it on Shabbos, you can, because everybody knows.
Yeah, but over there nobody knows that it's your horse.
Right.
But a horse is prohibited from the Torah from working. Your horse. Yeah. There's a difference.
I think that's
yeah, it's possible. I don't know. Yeah.